sparked a revolution.
4, 3, 2, 1. Blast off.
Welcome to the 18 Wheel Talk Podcast Show. Okay, now say it seriously and slower.
Welcome to the 18 Wheel Talk Podcast Show. We're
Often
often imitated, never duplicated.
The one, the only, the blue, the green, the big rig. 18 Wheel Talk Podcast Show. What is going on with your microphone?
It got twisted the wrong way.
It's related to you. We're going. Do not restart. This is like the 10,011th time. Keep rolling.
I'm rolling,
We're
baby.
going to run out of digital tape.
It's rolling.
Oh, okay. What are we talking about?
How's Miss Janet today?
Marvelous, darling. Simply marvelous.
Simply marvelous.
Marvelous.
Going banshee. She's going to hell in a hay basket, and I'm driving.
That's right. You're taking
And
me
it's
there,
on
baby.
fire. Anyways. Welcome to the podcast show.
Yes.
What are we talking about today, Miss Janet?
Hazmat.
Hazmat.
Do you know what that means?
Hazardous materials.
Mm-hmm.
It's short for hazardous materials.
Yep. We're going to specifically talk about the endorsement, rules, regs, and more.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, where do you want to start? Lead us off.
Well,
Batter up. I'm just saying, batter up. You're up.
Hazmat.
Hit it. Go for it. Put it in gear.
Zip it, zippy.
Okay.
Hazmat
Hazmat, yes.
is an endorsement on the commercial driver's license, your CDL.
Okay.
And it's required to transport. You're required to have the endorsement if you're driving a rig that has hazardous materials in it within a certain range.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like I used to haul oil, gas and oil.
Okay.
You're required to have your CDL with hazmat endorsement to haul gas, to haul oil,
Right.
to haul liquid nitrogen, stuff like that, to haul explosives, stuff like my dad
So
carried
basically, if you got
sometimes.
to put a placard on the vehicle, you need an endorsement to haul it.
Yes.
Pretty much.
There are small amounts, like you occasionally had hazmat materials in small enough amounts when you worked for that certain company that shall remain
Oh yeah, yeah.
unnamed.
When I hauled medical waste.
Yes. They carried small amounts that were not required to be placarded, so they did not have to have drivers with a hazmat endorsement.
When it was on wheels, like we had some containers that were on wheels.
Okay.
All right, if we had a certain amount of these wheel types on the truck,
Okay.
like if I had a trailer load of these, I had to put place cards, placard it with a specific number, which said it was untreated medical waste. I think is what the code. If you look it up in the code book, it was. I believe it said untreated medical waste.
Oh, okay.
So if we, heaven forbid, we're ever in an accident, they know it's on the truck, especially if they see stuff dripping out the back.
I got you. So I know that they were required, obviously 6 oil. I hauled a lot of 6 oil and gas. I know that when the driver that worked for the same company as I did just as I was leaving, he was coming on in New York. When he came down from Vermont, I think it was Burlington, he came down Route 2.
Route 7?
Came down the
Somewhere
hill there and decided just to pile into a town full bore, no brakes. Oops. Plowed through a house or 3, rolled a tanker full of 6 oil. Yeah. He probably could have done a better job making sure everything was done properly.
Yeah.
It had placards on it, and he had his hazmat endorsement and his tank endorsement.
Okay.
But he didn't exactly follow the rules and regs.
Okay. So
Okay.
let's get into the rules and regs.
Yeah. So
Let's do it. All right,
If
you're
you-
going to have to read it because I can't read it. I can't
okay.
see it.
So you have to pass a knowledge test and a skills test.
Okay.
And depending on what type of hazmat you're driving, you also have to have other endorsements. Like I had to have a tanker endorsement.
Right, because the type of vehicle you were
Type
driving
of
was a
vehicle
tanker.
I was pulling, the trailer.
Right.
Some people don't understand the difference.
Right.
If they're not a truck driver, they might not understand there's a difference.
You can haul. Well, you'd have to have a tanker endorsement to haul a tanker. Well,
pull a tanker.
You used to.
You still do.
Okay.
And if you're pulling, say, doubles, and one of the trailers has hazmat in it, you have to have it placarded. You have to have your hazmat endorsement, plus you have to have your doubles endorsement.
Yep.
You still have to do that.
And that's usually on paid interstates.
Yes, and not all states have doubles or triples.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yep.
Because I grew up in an area where there was, and I had driven in areas where there was, and then I got to New York, and I'm like, where's all the doubles and triples?
On the interstate.
But I did, again, I was driving, like the Northway and stuff.
You could, on the New York State Thruway, because the company I worked for had me get my doubles endorsement. Well, I had my doubles and triples endorsement. They had me licensed to be able to haul doubles on the Thruway. And I could haul double 48-footers.
Yeah.
Triple pups.
Yep.
So,
and that's common. So if any of those three pups had hazmat in it, someone had to have that endorsement too.
Yep.
So that being said, like say someone came to work for that company.
Okay.
And knew they were going to be hazmat as a requirement. They have 90 days, and they didn't have their endorsement already. They had 90 days from the time they started working for that company.
Yeah.
This is still law. I've done all this research within the last 30 days.
Okay.
So they have 90 days from the time they start with a company that hauls hazmat to get their endorsement for hazmat. Now, if you're going to work for a company that only hauls hazmat, you're not going to get a job if you don't have it in advance. That's just that easy. But if it's a once-in-a-while thing, they give you 90 days to get it.
Okay.
After you get the employment or the assignment, and you have to have reoccurrent training at least once every 3 years.
Right.
So that's just everybody, no matter whether you have the once-in-a-while assignment or you're all the time getting, pulling hazmat, and that's all you ever pull.
Okay. And that's just what, like a security training?
No, that's the actual hazmat training,
the actual
course. The 4-hour course.
Okay.
Which it didn't used to be a 4-hour, but now it is. And you have to go back and get that 4-hour course, and depending on what school...
you have to sit through it.
You have to sit through it and recertify every 3 years.
3 years. Oh, okay.
Every 3 years you have to recertify.
I thought you said 90 days.
No. 90 days from the date you get the job.
Gotcha. You have to have it.
And every 3 years after.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah, I know. If they could see how much my hands talk, they'd be like, wow, she must be Irish. Anyway.
I misunderstood.
That's okay.
That's all. I just wanted you to reiterate it.
You're part of the specialized training, which I think is funny that they actually list on the Federal Motor Carriers
Safety
Association site, is you have to have a CDL.
Well, yeah.
But my brain isn't that obvious?
Yeah, usually. If you're looking up a hazmat endorsement, one would assume
that you had to have the CDL
that you had the CDL to begin with.
Yes. But also like CDL, hazmat, and a lot of times you have to have the tank or the triples, doubles endorsement.
I know that if you go through a school,
yes,
if you have the opportunity to get
that endorsement, any endorsement, take it.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you're going through the school, you're going to pay for it. You might as well take it.
Yeah, if they offer it, take it.
That's when I went, to get my CDL. That they said take every portion of the test. You're paying the price. You might as well take it all.
Yeah, when I went to school, they said that too.
The only 2 endorsements I didn't hold was passenger and towing.
I didn't hold passenger.
Did I have tow truck?
I had tow truck.
I don't know. I think I had tow truck. I never worked it, but the only endorsement I really didn't have was in passenger vehicle.
Yeah.
So, anyways.
You still have to do your pre-trip. All your controls on your equipment, emergency equipment. They pay special attention to like your fire extinguishers and that type of stuff when you're hauling hazmat. And I guess now, I don't mean this to sound as sarcastic as it's going to. I guess now they really pay attention to whether or not a hazmat driver smokes in their truck.
Oh, okay.
The reason I said that is when I drove oil tanker and gas tanker, I smoked.
Uh-huh.
Everybody I knew that drove tanker,
smoked,
and smoked in their truck.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of them, I mean, of course, smoked when they were
right.
unloading.
A lot of them
smoked when they unloaded.
Uh-huh.
Because what people don't understand is you're more likely to blow something up during that
cigarette transfer. Sorry.
Unhook and hook, like in and out of the car or in and out of a tank in the ground.
Okay.
When it's hooked up and you're from tanker to the nozzle in the ground to the tank in the ground, it's locked.
Right. No vapors.
There's no vapors there. And if you're there for half an hour.
I thought I was going to sneeze.
Oh, bless you in advance. But
I felt it coming.
So I guess they really frown on the smoking when you drive a semi with hazmat now. Although I will say...
Well, it also depends on the type of hazmat, like you said.
Yes. You know. When I did have the opportunity to pull explosives, I was really good and did not smoke and throw anything out the window.
Oh, good.
Yes. So I paid attention. So
okay.
You also have to pay attention if you're pulling hazmat and you go through... Certain highways near mountains have tunnels.
Okay.
And if you're near a city, you're going to see a lot of bypass roads that say if you're hauling a hazmat or a tanker,
yeah,
you have to go around them. You cannot go through a tunnel with a tanker or a hazmat. I say tanker because most tankers are hazmat. Of course, people are saying, well, what about milk? Yeah, but milk just...
milk isn't a hazard.
It's not, but you still have to follow the same rules.
Yeah, they still because it's a tanker.
It's a tanker. You still have to follow the same rules.
There was an interstate. I think it was it Pittsburgh that has the tunnel.
Well, yeah, and there's a bunch of interstates.
But there's an interstate that goes in it. But there's a tunnel, and you got to get off. And I forget the interstate number. I think it's 79, 71, 79, something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Where you have to bypass the tunnel.
Yeah, and there's interstates that go in Pennsylvania, West Virginia, all up and down that area.
There's the big tunnel in Colorado.
Where there's tunnels that you have to bypass. Yep. You have to go around them. Cars go through them. Semis go around them. You know, if you're hauling something.
Especially if you're hauling hazmat, because they don't want to.
Yeah, they're like, nope.
They're like, hell no, we ain't coming in after you.
No, what they do is they say, have you seen that Sylvester Stallone movie? That's what the sign needs to say.
Yeah, right.
Have you seen that movie? Go around it. But there are procedures for maneuvering tunnels, maneuvering around bridges, railroad crossings.
Flashers got to be
I've seen a lot of semis that just fly across railroad crossings. And when I went from hazmat to reefer, it was really hard not to stop at every railroad crossing.
I know. Once you get in the mindset.
Yeah, it was like that mind my brain was saying stop, and my
stop, flashers, check both ways. Cross.
Yeah, the whole thing. But my mind was also saying no, you don't have to.
You're not hauling hazmat.
Yeah. So.
But yes, I agree with you. Once you get your mind trained to do something like that, it's automatic. You're going to do it.
Yep.
You know.
And there's also attending your vehicle if it's a hazmat.
What do you mean?
If you're loaded with hazmat, you're not always allowed to leave your vehicle to just pop on into a truck stop. That's why a lot of times you see two people in a hazmat truck.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah. If one's in, one has to be near the truck.
It's got to be
depending on what's in it.
Or on or around.
Yep. If you're loading or unloading, it has to be compatible. Like tankers are loaded into have baffles. A lot of tankers have baffles. Like you could have 5 baffles within a tanker.
Okay.
They have to be compatible items, like types of gas, for instance. You can't have gas and 6-oil in the same tanker. If you don't know what 6-oil is, it's home heating oil. People actually do still use that.
No,
there's a lot of people that don't know that. Those can't be in the same tanker because what happens if they mix, it's all destroyed.
Yep.
If 2 types of gas mix, it's still usable.
2 types. If 87 octane mixed with 93 octane, guess what? Voila, you got 93 octane.
Yeah, exactly. Poof. If someone gets it mixed up, you just got a different octane. That's all.
Poof, you got mid grade.
You got mid grade. That's right.
93 becomes less. The 87 becomes more. Voila, mid grade. That's how they came up with the mid grade. That's what happened. Somebody screwed up and mixed the two
and said, "Hey, we might as well make a mid grade. That way, we always got it covered." Yeah. And you would know more about this because you handled cargo hazmat, and I've never actually handled cargo hazmat. Is packing, loading, unloading, load securement, because all I did was hook the tanker up, make sure the hoses were drained,
Yeah.
make sure the hoses were secure, nothing was dripping, etc.
With the medical waste company, we picked up developer fluid, which was classified as hazardous, but it was small quantity, and it had to be strapped to the back of the truck.
Okay.
So there was a specific location in the back of the truck that's where it had to be.
Okay.
And we had I don't think we had to have a special platform to put it on. I know when we offloaded it and stored it.
Okay.
Until it was picked up by our hazardous people. It was stored in our warehouse on a raised platform that had the drip holes in it. I call it a waffle board.
Yeah.
A waffle board tray.
Yep.
To prevent it in case there was a leak and it spilt, it would capture the leak.
Yeah.
And it had to be locked up.
Okay.
So we were able to do certain things, but it was at the time it's the rules. That was the rules. That's how we had to be able to do it, and that's how we got around the hazmat because we weren't picking up a lot. It was like maybe a 5-gallon jug.
Okay. So, and I know I keep going back to tanker because a lot of hazmat.
Well, that's what your experience is in.
Well, not just that, but a lot of hazmat that's in large quantities put in a tanker.
Yeah.
Not just gas and oil, but even large quantities of other types of waste is put in a tanker. Yep. If it's any type of liquid.
Yes.
Or semi-liquid. Anyway. You're welcome for the sound effects. Okay. You also have to learn the special handling of tankers.
Okay.
Liquids slosh.
Right. That's why they put the baffles in.
Not all of them have baffles, though.
Well, what I'm saying, the ones that have baffles, they put the baffles in to alleviate some of the slosh, which is a push-pull.
Yeah, they have a high center of gravity.
Yep.
So, like where there's especially cloverleaf entrances on and off ramps onto highways, they angle.
Okay.
So you have to, like if the speed limit going on a highway from one to another says it's 45, you're not doing 45 in a tanker fully loaded.
You're going to have to.
Because you're going to be rolling downhill starting on 9 and then nothing. You're going to be on your top.
Yeah. Well, you're definitely going to slow down to a minimum 15
maybe.
miles less than the speed limit.
Yeah. So if it said 45, I'd aim at about 20 and see how it felt.
Yeah.
Depending on what I was loaded with.
When you got to the end of the cloverleaf, you'd be grabbing gears.
Then you can start grabbing gears. But going into it, you get to that tight spot where it's the highest angle. Yeah. It's like,
well, any tractor trailer's always
should
higher.
Know that, yes.
And when they're going on a turn, they should automatically.
Well, we both.
It's recommended for cars. The speed limit is.
Yes, but we also know of people, we'll say, that said, "Oh, I took that curve on 9." And that person or people might have been smacked upside the head if they had said that to me in person.
Nice.
So, once you feel 9 lifting, you slow down and aim into the 9 that are lifting.
Yeah. That's 9 wheels out of 18.
Yes. So, if you've got a partial load,
in case you're listening and you're scratching your head like,
what's 9?
What's she mean by took that turn on 9?
Yeah.
Meaning they were getting ready to tip it.
Yeah, they were getting ready to flip.
I've only come close to. I brought some wheels off the ground, and that was when I drove for a garbage company.
Okay.
Coming around a turn, and the back axle dipped down into a drainage grate.
Okay.
And when we came back up, it shifted and it brought the tires off the ground. It was like a little bloop.
Oh, fun.
And boy, my helper was holding out for dear life. He was like, I thought we were going, man.
Ouch.
Oh, it made my you-know-what pucker.
I was maybe a few months into hauling tanker, hazmat, and Rensselaer, New York.
Yep.
Coming from 7 going into Massachusetts, I took that north road.
Okay.
And I could feel the tires starting to lift, and I aimed into it and downshifted and took my foot off the pedal a little bit and dropped it back down. And the driver that was near me, we were running up into northern Massachusetts together. He says, wow. He says, I saw that start to lift. He says, you pulled it out real good. So it's like,
oh, yeah.
boy,
When
once
you know
you
it's
feel
coming,
that lift, you just
it's like
winging a prayer, baby, winging a prayer.
That's because, in all of our training that between the two of us, we're taught what to do in certain situations.
Yeah.
Whether we get to use that training,
you hope not.
You hope you don't have to.
Yeah.
But in a split second, it rambles through your brain, and you know what to do.
If your training is rambling through your brain and you're doing it right, and you don't have that happen,
right?
You're going, oh, thank God I was taught that.
Yeah, exactly.
And if what's
baby
going
Jesus.
through your brain is, ooh, that was exciting, you're in the wrong job.
Thank you, baby Jesus. I remembered the training.
So let's go on to employers. As an employer, they have to create and retain records for every employer when they're a hazmat employer, whether it's one that has only hazmat employers or loads or one that has a 1-a-year load.
I gotcha.
They have to have records for everyone as long as the employee stays there and is retained.
Okay.
Up and then for 3 months after that. It has to have all their training records.
Right.
Everything that's current, everything they came into the company with, all their training while they were with the company.
Gotcha.
And if you're interested in running tankers, I highly suggest the rollover prevention video that is located on the FMCSA site. We'll have a link to it. FM
Federal Motor
Carrier
Safety Association.
Yeah, FMCSA site. Did I say it backwards again?
FMCSA.
It's
okay. It's a tongue twister for you. It's okay.
I do flip letters.
It's okay. We'll make sure it's correct on our website.
The link will be right.
We'll definitely put a link into it because I found it fascinating.
And it covers the 4 approaches to reducing your tank truck rollovers, design and performance of the vehicle, the load effects, the highway factors, and the driver factors, which is my favorite.
What?
Because 78% of rollovers involve driver error. Because as a driver, the driver is the key component to preventing a rollover. The preview highlights what you see in the full 17-minute video.
Okay.
Things to consider on a rollover, especially a hazmat rollover: slosh.
Okay.
Tank stability.
Okay.
Rollover prevention.
Uh-huh.
High-risk areas on roads.
Okay.
Allowing speed cushions. Controlling your turns. And regulations and interpretations.
Okay.
So, and I've told you about my friend that highly experienced driver, highly experienced tanker driver.
Can happen to anybody.
That ended up in a rollover. It can happen to anybody because he was coming, I can't think of the road that goes through Lake George and up there.
It was a tight curve.
It was a tight curve, downhill, double S curve. A car passed him downhill on a curve in a no passing zone, 2-lane highway, and then stopped to make a left-hand turn right in front of him.
Yeah.
He, rather than hit the car and kill the guy, ended up
he would have ran him over.
Oh, the guy would definitely have been dead.
Easily.
The guy stopped to turn into his own driveway rather than
wait for the truck. He was in that big of a hurry.
Rather than, wait 30 seconds to get to his own.
He'd rather risk his life
to
get home than to actually make it home.
So my friend ended up rolling the tanker into the ditch right across from the guy's driveway. So there was no doubt who did it because, lots of witnesses and right across from his driveway. And the reason, thank God he's still okay and everything. But the reason I know is because the cops were looking for me to come unload the trailer.
Right.
So
they were like, "Yeah, get all the Janet. She's not far from there."
Yeah, she's on her way back. He was on his way up. We had same trailers, identical trailers, and
so you hooked up and drained his trailer into yours.
Drained his trailer into mine as the tow trucks were lifting his trailer back up, and all I knew is his wife was worried to death, and I handed him my phone and said, "Call her."
Yeah.
That's all I cared about was call her and tell her you're okay.
Call home and let her know you're safe.
We have another link to hazmat routes that you can't go through, like tunnels, and that's again on the same FMCSA.
Federal Motor Carrier Safety Association.
It's like tunnels. I just
on the federal motor carrier site.
You're going to see a lot of our links.
That's where we got a lot of this information from
their site.
From their
90% of it came off of their site because that's what they do for a living.
Federal Motor Carrier, that they regulate us. They regulate the CDLs,
yes.
The commercial driving industry.
How to report and prevent spills, same place, more links.
Yep, and we'll make sure that we have a link there. And a lot of this stuff is very interesting. Give it a read.
Yeah, it might not sound super interesting the way that I'm putting it across, but it really is interesting.
It's like you may read something and go, oh, wow, I never knew that.
The videos, even though I drove tanker for a while, it was like, wow, I never saw that before.
It's like, oh, wow, I didn't think of that.
So
that's something new to me.
Yeah. The Secretary of the Department of Transportation has the authority to regulate the transportation of hazmat.
Okay.
Because of the Hazardous Material Transportation Act.
Okay.
I didn't know. I knew, but I didn't know what act.
Is that the act that was enacted when the towers got hit?
I believe so, because there's a highway route controlled quantity of Class 7 radioactive material now.
Yep.
Anything over 55 pounds of explosive materials.
It has to be. That's got to be the regulations that came into effect.
This is some
9/11.
of the stuff it covers. More than 1 liter of material that's poisonous by inhalation.
Okay.
Material poisonous by inhalation that meets for hazard zone C or D in packaging.
Okay.
Which just floors me. That could be in packaging that's 3,500 gallons. Mm-hmm. It's like, wow.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they weren't messing around since 9/11 because of how they've been trying. Yeah. I say they. There's been terrorists trying to attack the United States for years.
Yeah, long before
they've been trying to take those towers down forever.
Pretty much since they went up.
They would drive trucks filled with explosives down into the basement to try to take it out from below and not succeed.
Yeah.
This is why these regulations exist now, because they plowed planes into the towers.
Yeah.
And by they, I mean terrorists.
Terrorists is the they we're talking about.
So I understand why they came up with these regulations. Some of them are kind of redundant. Some of them are
kind of hard to read.
Yeah, I get it. Some of it is repetitive.
But it makes sense if you're carrying the stuff.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to haul it, you know what they're talking about. They're I don't know what a Class C versus a Class 7 is.
Yeah, or like this one, a shipment of compressed or refrigerated liquefied methane or liquefied natural gas or other liquefied gas with a methane content of 85% in bulk packaging and a capacity of equal to or greater than 3,500 gallons. And I'm like, oh, wait, I hauled that.
E equals 4 times squared.
Yeah.
That's what it sounded like you were saying. All I heard was wah, wah, wah.
Well, I know, but then I'm like,
wah.
Air gas.
Right. Air gas. Yeah.
That's air gas.
Yeah. Oxygen, liquid
that's
oxygen.
That's the company.
Yeah. Liquid oxygen and CO2.
Yeah.
All in liquid form.
So there's all these new forms that came out in January of 2005.
Okay.
Okay, that they have to fill out that motor carriers, interstate, intrastate, foreign carriers have to comply with it too, although sometimes I won't name countries, but you'd think that some places don't know how to read or write English.
Anyways.
And if your inspection of your hazardous materials discloses violations,
okay,
and you don't report it, you can get fined, and you can go with civil or criminal or both penalties.
Damn.
You can get for civil maximum $79,976. This is per individual.
Right.
For criminal, $250,000.
That's $250,000.
Yeah.
That's up to, or that's the maximum for an individual.
Up to.
Wow. I don't know about you, but my pocket ain't that deep.
Yeah. Oh, wait, my bad. The criminal, that's the minimum on the $250,000 is minimum. The minimum.
Ooh.
That is if related, minimum $481 if it's related to your training. So if it happens in training, it's different.
Oh, I got you.
However, the person that's training you, yeah, they can get the full kit and caboodle. The corporation you work for, $500,000.
Damn.
If it results in death for civil,
Okay.
$186,000.
That's crazy.
Death, serious injury, illness to a person, or property damage. And then there's a whole list of shipper responsibilities. And I know most of you aren't falling under this, but if you work for the company that does the shipping and does... I worked for the shipping company because we picked up the oil at the facility.
The refinery.
At the refinery, basically. We picked it up. We had the contract to pick it up. We were the ones with the contract, and then we hauled it. So we had that responsibility. We had to make sure that it met the definition of hazmat, had the right shipping name, the right division, the right ID number, the right warning label. If the guy before me had the wrong placards on the tank, I had to make sure that I flipped it to the correct one.
Right.
If I didn't, that's on me. That's not on him.
Right.
You had to make sure that whatever you picked up at the hospitals, for instance, were in the right packaging.
Right. Yeah.
They couldn't just throw hazmat in a box and say, "Here you go, it's hazmat." Although I'm sure they tried at times.
Oh, believe me.
Yeah.
I've seen some places take a sharps container that's full of needles, all right, and instead of putting that container in the box that they're supposed to, they dumped it out into the container. They dumped the needles out of the
plastic
container
that holds it locked
and put it in a box.
Okay.
And thought that was the right way.
Stupidos.
I'm like, I'm lucky I didn't get stuck by that porcupine box.
Yeah, right.
Oh my God. My boss was like, "How did you not get stuck by that?" Because literally, they look like porcupines. I said, "Well, I put my hands on the box like this, and I saw something shiny, and I look, and literally, there was like, it was like one was here, one was here, one was,
Jesus.
I mean, literally, there was thousands of needles poking through this box, and I literally picked it up, saw something shiny, and walked it over to where I needed to set it for him to look at, set it down, and pulled my hands out.
Very carefully.
in case I did get stuck and I just didn't feel it.
Okay, so imagine you're the driver, like you were, and say you got promoted to facility manager of that terminal.
Okay.
So you go from being responsible for your trailer.
Now you're responsible for a dozen trailers.
A dozen trailers, drivers, and everything on the list. The ID numbers, the class, the warning label, the packaging, the marking, the training of the employees, all the paperwork, all the emergency response information, phone number certification, compatibility, blockings, bracings, that's inside the trailers.
Okay.
Placards, the security plan to make sure that the trailer doesn't get hijacked between point A and point B.
Right.
Incident reporting in case a driver gets stuck with something.
Right.
Or hazmat gets spilled. You have to make sure that the materials carrier responsibility book is up to date.
Yep.
I did that for my boss when I got my knee hurt.
Yeah, we had a carrier book.
Yeah, someone had the responsibility of putting that together.
It had all of our emergency contact numbers.
Yep.
All our permits were in it. All our.
Yep. How to load, how to unload, everything.
How to place card it.
Yeah.
How to mark it. How to.
And how to practice for that moment when an incident does occur. Like when I started, I hurt my knee.
Okay.
Not a hazmat accident. It's just a stupid one.
Okay.
But my knee got hurt when I drove for the hazmat company.
Okay.
And so I'm like, I can't sit at home and be bored.
No.
What can I do? They asked if I wanted to answer phones, and I just looked at them and laughed.
You went, "Do I look like a goddamn secretary?"
I said, nothing against secretaries. I love them, but no.
But no.
They put me in charge of training, and then they put me in charge of rerouting. I took the pickup because it was my left knee.
Okay.
I took the company pickup, and I went to every facility we went to.
Okay.
I did truck routes.
All right.
Wrote the truck route down, marked it on a map because I made Xeroxes of all the maps.
Okay. That makes sense.
And then I, on it, properly marked where the actual delivery point was compared to where the truck could park, because that was wrong on half the books because things change.
Right.
And our books were like 15 years old.
Yeah. And because you did that was a big help.
Yeah. You froze momentarily.
I did.
Yeah. But I did all of that, and because I did all of that, then they had me train everybody. I had to give a training class, like a 2-hour training class on everybody, like, okay, so this is what I discovered, because I had to go on, I went on this website.
I went here and found out this is what we're doing.
And this is what we're supposed to be doing. And by the way, how's your fire extinguishers, drivers?
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So
they were like, oh, crap, Janet's here.
Yeah. But imagine, I mean, we had drivers get hurt from hazmat, covered in oil. 6 oil burns. Yeah. We also hauled the tar for roads once in a while. Man, you want to talk about
well, like I said,
I can't even imagine.
My company hauled the old X-ray machines, fixer developer, when they developed the liquid.
Yeah, no.
That shit burns.
No, thank you.
That'll burn your skin off.
But if something had happened, someone's in charge of making sure that employee, say it had been you, God forbid, made it to the hospital, was taken care of, whatever was, well, you were at the hospital. Yeah. But say you weren't at the hospital.
Right.
Made it to the hospital, everything was taken care of, all the paperwork was taken care of, did all the follow-up, made sure nothing happened at the hospital, the trailer was cleaned up, the facility was cleaned up, and all the other little things.
Got all the ducks in a row.
And if someone is killed, man, you can just tenfold everything at least.
We had one of the drivers when I was back in upstate New York.
Oh, I remember.
He got hit head on with a. I'm guessing the kid had mental issues.
Okay.
That was driving the car that hit him. He was on a 2-lane road. Mm-hmm. Speed limit was 55. He managed to slow the truck down to 45 when he realized the kid was coming at him.
Oh, wow.
And got on the shoulder of the road and stayed on the shoulder of the road, did not go off the shoulder and into the berm. And like I said, slowed down to about 45. They estimated the kid hit him, and it was like an impact of about 85 miles an hour.
Oof.
Yeah. I told him, I said, I wouldn't be able to get behind the wheel again if that ever happened to me. I told my boss, I said, if that ever happens to me, don't ask if I'm coming back to work, because it ain't happening.
Yeah.
Thankfully, it didn't, and thankfully he was all right.
Yeah.
I'm sure that
I know a few drivers that's happened.
I'm sure that he still has nightmares about it.
Yeah.
I haven't talked to him since I moved out here, but
yeah.
Last I knew, it's still working, the old bastard. But anyways.
But they also have to notify, like, the accident that happened up in New York, the driver that took out a couple houses with the 6 oil tanker.
Right.
They had to evacuate part of the town, not to mention the houses that got destroyed.
Yeah, because of what
luckily
you guys
nobody,
were hauling.
Luckily nobody got killed.
Right.
But they had to evacuate the area, and since it was on a hill and things were flowing downhill, they had to evacuate like a quarter of the town.
Yep. Yeah. So they got the leak, got it under control.
Fire department and everything else. And I was still in New York at the time, obviously. But my old boss called me and asked if I wanted to come help, and I'm like, no.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
I'm good.
I've been there, done that. I don't do that no more.
So I'm not going to go in depth on the subdivisions here.
I would definitely just at least, read the classes.
Yeah, but I'm not going to go into the divisions of it. So, like, class 1 is explosives.
Okay.
And then there's 6 divisions of explosives.
Yeah, they all have their own little classes underneath.
So, class 1 is explosives.
Yep.
Class 2 is gases.
Yep. Flammable, non-flammable, poisonous.
Yep. Class 3 is liquids.
Okay.
Flammable liquids, I should say.
Okay.
Class 4
so a flammable liquid would be your 6 oil?
Gas. Gas is,
I
hear nothing. You hear nothing.
Anyways. So your 6 oil was listed under gases.
No, because a gas is a...
I know, it's like,
I don't remember. I think it was semi-solid, though.
So like I said, it's like,
It was Because gas, like petrol,
Yeah.
petrol,
Gasoline.
gasoline is a flammable liquid.
Right. That's you said you hauled 6-oil and gas.
Yeah.
So that's why I said gas.
And I think that, and 6-oil, I think, is listed as a flammable liquid as well. I'd have to look it up.
Anyways.
Anyway.
Anyways.
Class 4 is a flammable solid.
Okay.
Tar is listed as a flammable solid.
Yep.
Or combustible, like if something just poof, instantly will combust.
Yep.
Class 5 is something that is an oxidizing substance or an organic peroxides.
Okay.
Class 6 is poisonous, toxic, and infectious substances.
Okay.
Class 7 is radioactive material. Hey, that's an easy one to say, Janet.
Hey.
Class 8 is...
That's what I haul. If I hauled some radioactive material.
Yeah, I didn't haul that.
Low levels of radioactive waste, but it happens. People, and people are like, what do you mean you used to haul radioactive? Well, if somebody's at a hospital getting chemotherapy treatment, they're injected with radioactive stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's left in the vials and all the IV hookups and stuff. And that's how I end up hauling it, because it becomes medical waste.
That makes sense.
It
yeah.
gets transported. It has radioactive waste has a shelf life of if it's 100 in 24 hours, now it's at 50. It's level. It's radioactive level. The shelf life is 50% in 24 hours. So if it's at 100% in 24 hours, it'll be 50. 24 hours, 25. And so on and so on until it's gone.
Oh,
there's radiation in all around us.
Yeah.
But when it gets if it's something above the norm, the shelf life they say is 50% in a 24-hour period.
I didn't know that.
Every 24 hours. That's why we were able to hold it for 3 days, and if it didn't come down to normal levels, we'd have to send it back.
Yeah, because at the end of the third day, it would be at 12.5%.
But if it's still above the quote,
because 50, 25, 12.5.
Right. So if anything above that, we'd have to create special paperwork, take it back to where it came from, and they would hold it for 3 days, and then we'd come back and pick it back up again.
See,
the vicious cycle.
Look at you, smarty britches.
I know, right?
So 7 is radioactive.
Yep.
8 is corrosives.
Okay.
Like battery acid.
Ooh.
Batteries,
Batteries.
Batteries.
Yep. Gotcha.
9 is miscellaneous dangerous goods. Like there's a hazardous that doesn't quite conform to any one specific thing, but has a little mix of everything.
Okay.
Yes, I just saw a drive-by pugging.
Yeah, I was like, what was that?
That was a
ooh.
It was a walk-by pugging.
Ooh, I saw a pug.
Well, her sisters sound asleep, so we're good.
Anyways.
Miscellaneous. So, and then there's security plans after that, but I didn't realize I had hauled as many of these classes as I have.
What?
I haven't done radioactive.
What? Well,
so security plans.
Lucky you.
Then they talk about the security plan requirements in Part 172, Subpart 1 of the Hazardous Material Regulations. They're talking about each hazmat employer is subject to security plan requirements, but I mentioned that they have to have a plan of action.
Right.
Everyone has to be trained. Everyone has to know what they're supposed to do, what they can't do. It's like if you tried unloading 6-oil gas, they weren't quite as picky. But if you tried even touching a 6-oil tanker and you didn't have on the right gloves, you might as well have watched your boss's brain explode.
What?
Although there was one guy I would have paid to watch his brain explode. Hazmat and all. I would have bagged it. Bagged it, tagged it, and walked away.
Shut the front door.
Bada bing, bada boom.
By the way, if you're finding value in this episode, please like, share, and follow us on all social media. Would greatly be appreciated.
Definitely.
And wherever you're listening to us on whatever podcast channel, if you can leave a review, that would be awesome too, and or a rating.
Oh, and we've got some really neat stuff coming up this summer.
I know, right? I
I'm
can't
just
wait.
like so excited.
I know, right? it's like can't wait. We got some special interviews coming up that
And some stuff we can't talk about.
we're not gonna tell you about. We want you to tune in.
That's right. And Patrick likes to, in case you've never seen us before, Patrick likes to make fun of Janet for funny faces, showing off her manicure. And what else? Oh, and I'm a wigglewort.
So if you want to see all this in action, you have to go to the number 8, wheeltalk.com/YouTube. Or if you're on YouTube, search us at the @18 Wheel Talk.
We're there. We're
Look
everywhere.
for-
Like
look for this logo.
savoir-faire. See that logo?
Oh my God, you did
I
it!
got it right.
you didn't throw your over the other shoulder this time.
Usually, I throw my finger over my right shoulder for the podcast logo. I'm learning. Well, technically, it's up there.
But anyways, yes. Ever since we revamped, because we're for truckers, we're about truckers, and we're by truckers. We're 2 retired truck drivers with 40+ years experience in the industry.
And
I've got a variety of driving experience, from a garbage truck to a tractor trailer. Janet's got diesel in her blood, born with it.
diesel and whiskey.
So
And we are the 18 Wheel Talk podcast show, often imitated.
never duplicated.
Yes, the one, the only, the green, blue, and the big rig.
That's right. So be sure to follow us. We're everywhere. You can listen to podcasts.
Oh, we got contests.
We're on
too.
social media.
Oh.
We're everywhere on social media. We have a new email address. Let me find the button for it. It's called we're the hosts at 18wheeltalk.com.
With an S at the
That's-
end of hosts.
That's the host, HOSTS, at 18wheeltalk.com.
It's not scrolling.
It's on my screen over here.
I don't get to see it.
Nope. And we have a fan club.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go to our 18wheeltalk.com, a little bit down somewhere on the homepage, there's a link to take you to our fan club. Sign up for that. By joining our fan club, you can get into our fan club group on Facebook, and we're gonna utilize our fan club just for contests, giveaways. So you want to be a part of that? Be sure to sign up, please.
And thank you.
And thank you. And I feel the sneeze coming now.
God bless you. Ooh, he has to explode once every episode.
Almost. I usually can make it through and then let it out when we're done, but that one said, nope.
No, not today.
I'm coming out now, son of a bitch. But anyways, we hope you found value in this.
We hope you had as much fun as us.
Yes. We have a passion for this industry that is like no other, and we want to share it with you. If like I said, if you find value in this episode, like it, share it, tell a friend, pass it on, get the word out.
Yep. And if you don't see these two faces, these two faces.
If you don't see me or Janet,
If you don't see us,
it's not
it's
the 18
not
wheel.
us. It's not the 18 Wheel
It's
Talk
not the 18 Wheel
podcast show.
Talk podcast show. It's somebody
Nope,
else.
Someone else.
It's somebody else trying to be like us.
Yeah, it's someone trying to imitate us, and you're never going to find anything pornography related on
Anyways.
our sites. Nothing. We are clean,
Anyway,
except our mouths.
we got an explicit rating because of Janet's mouth. She's got a sailor mouth.
I do not. I was in the army. Thank you.
Oh yeah, my bad. So you got an army mouth.
La bafangu.
See, she knows how to swear at me in like 16 different foreign languages.
That's just one of my finer qualities, darling.
Anyways, we greatly appreciate you joining us today.
Thank you.
We hope you enjoyed the show.
And you hope you come back next
Please
time.
like, share, follow us on social media, get the
Comment.
word out there, leave us a comment, ask the show. We got an Ask the Show tab. You got a question, be sure to click on that tab on our website. Ask the show. Ask us anything. Well, almost anything.
Thank you.
But hey, if we end up using your comment or suggestion on the air, we will give you a shout out and we will reach out to you. We possibly will send you some sort of thank you,
Thank you, goody.
of something. We're not sure yet what it will be, but It'll be good. It'll be good. Trust me.
It'll be good.
Anyways, say goodbye, Janet.
Goodbye, Janet.
Okay, bye.